As God's excellent stewards, Christians are given facts in the world, yet, it is right for us to take care of the planet and do what we can to help the Earth, especially in the current context of global warming. It is a massive phenomenon. Many individuals are debating whether or not global warming is occurring. The Bible does not expressly mention climate change or global warming, but it does state that the world will be consumed by fire at some time, as per 2 Peter 3 verse 7. By the same word, the present heavens and earth are reserved for fire, being kept for the day of judgment and destruction of the ungodly, and 2 Peter 3 verse 10. But the day of the Lord will come like a thief. The heavens will disappear with a roar, the elements will be destroyed by fire, and the earth and everything done in it will be laid bare. Some people depict these lines as the first signs of the end times described in the Bible as a great tribulation. However, others believe that it refers to climate change or global warming, which makes the earth become hotter and hotter, just like the way Satan turns the world into a more and more evil place and people are driven by the devils. 2 Timothy 3 verses 1 to 5. But mark this, there will be terrible times in the last days. People will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, without love, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not lovers of the good, treacherous, rash, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying its power. Have nothing to do with such people. So, is climate change happening because we are living in the end times? Genesis 1 verse 26. Then God said, "Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground." From these lines, we can see that God has entrusted us with such a significant responsibility and privilege. Therefore, it is the responsibility of people to take care of the environment, as people are the only living creature that has the power and ability to control other species, according to Genesis 28. Rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky and over every living creature that moves on the ground. It is arguable whether or not we are seeing global warming, yet, it is critical that believers do not split over this issue. God desires for believers to be one community and unite with each other to make a strong connection with a powerful mind and consistent faith in God. This is also the main idea written in 1 Corinthians 1 verse 10. I appeal to you, brothers and sisters, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that all of you agree with one another in what you say, and that there be no divisions among you, but that you be perfectly united in mind and thought. Many believers believe you have to choose God or science. However, God is compatible with science because God invented every atom, molecule, and chromosome. You can respect science and still be a believer. In any case, we must obey God, and He tells us to be a good steward of all He has given us. Matthew 25 verses 20 to 21. The man who had received 5 bags of gold brought the other 5. Master, he said, you entrusted me with 5 bags of gold. See, I have gained 5 more. His master replied, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things, I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. Whether or not one believes in global warming, the Bible does tell us in 2 Peter 3 verses 7 to 10 that the world will be destroyed by fire. This would imply that the world will continue to get hotter and hotter until the planet is destroyed. According to Revelation 21 verses 1 to 2, the destruction of the world is part of God's plan. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. I saw the holy city, the New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride beautifully dressed for her husband. God will demolish the current earth in order to create a new heaven and earth. The present-day world on which we stand will not last indefinitely. As God's creations, we have a responsibility to care for this earth as best as we can. Following the Church's rapture, the Great Tribulation, Christ's second coming, and the millennium, the entire globe will be destroyed. During the 7-year tribulation, however, the world will be gradually devastated by the numerous bowl judgments as in Revelation 16 verses 3 to 5. The second angel poured out his bowl on the sea, and it turned into blood like that of a dead person, and every living thing in the sea died. The third angel poured out his bowl on the rivers and springs of water, and they became blood. Then I heard the angel in charge of the waters say, "You are just in these judgments, O Holy One, you who are and who were." The planet will be destroyed by fire, and God will establish the new heaven and new earth. The new heaven and new earth will be a lovely, happy, and joyful place in the Lord. There will be no more tears, no more fear, and no more sorrow. Revelation 21 verse 4. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. Although the Bible does not mention climate change directly, its outcomes such as global warming does provide believers with facts about the earth, such as rising temperatures, melting ice caps, greater drought, more wildfires, and increased health concerns as a result of rising temperatures in metropolitan areas. It is up to each individual believer to decide whether or not to believe in global warming. According to the Bible, all humans are to be excellent stewards of God's creation because the entire world is His, as Psalm 24 verse 1 tells us that. The earth is the Lord's, and everything in it, the world, and all who live in it. Because God has committed the earth to us, it is our responsibility to care for it and do what we can to help it. We may not have control over the world, but we can make changes in our daily lives to demonstrate to God that we are good stewards of what He has given us. According to Matthew 24 verse 8, all these are the beginning of birth pains. The earth would be destroyed by fire in the future, which would correspond to global warming. It's possible that the current crisis we're facing with the rising heat is the start of the birth pangs Jesus mentioned during His earthly time.